just for any of you that don't know where we live, this is where we live. In this beautiful place with this view right across the Malvern Hills. Thought I'd start off taking you down this little green lane. It's a little walk that I do occasionally, and this morning it's absolutely beautiful. Listen to the silence. Just beautiful. The old blackbird's singing a bit now. The path opens up a bit now. It heads off down there into the wood. Should be nice down there. And the wood goes all the way along there, look. Little robin up there making a noise. Thinks he owns the place. Just coming to a little stream. I've just met somebody as well. Gave each other a wide berth, which is what you just have to do these days. Just coming to a little stream. I've just met somebody as well. Gave each other a wide berth, which is what you just have to do these days. Favourite little spot. It's a bit easier now than it was a few weeks ago. It was a raging torrent. Disappearing into the wood. Oh, it's homed out into a pasture. Absolutely glorious day. Just coming out into a little bit of open ground now in this new development here. When we first moved to Hanley Swan, and you walked up here, all there were old Nissen huts, which was what's left of an old American hospital, World War II hospital. That's all gone, and this new development's here. Ironically, they make paper towels and toilet rolls here, so I expect they've had the doors locked just lately. Across the grassland, which is obviously still being looked after nicely. You can see it's been raked and cleaned up so that the grass grows up nicely. I think over there is a place called Keeper's Cottage, which you can't get to because it's... As you see the roof, they've made a good design of it. The roof is supposed to echo the hills in the background, which of course are the Malverns. This is where Keeper's Cottage is. Lovely place to live, I would imagine. Just up there, out of the way of everybody. Good stuff. Go through over that stile, and then the whole of the Malverns is in front of us. And here we are. That's the Malverns, and that's Great Malvern down there. You can't quite see the Abbey, but it's tucked away in there somewhere. We might get a better view further on. You hear the skylark? He's way up in the blue there somewhere. The little walk I'm taking on is a ridgeway, and that's the ridge up there. The footpath actually goes along that tree line. We'll see in a minute. I just wanted to show you the witch cutting, which is the cutting in the rocks over there, dug out years ago so that the salt from Droitwich could go on through to Herefordshire and Wales. The white building to the right hand side of that is a very nice pub called the Witch Inn. Go there quite often. Not at the moment though, great shame. This is quite a nice view of the Malverns. Looking along its length. You can't see the beacon properly yet, or North Hill, but I'll show you that a little later. We're going this way. Path narrows down a bit now, then it goes out into a place called Wood Lane. Glorious little up and down track. Was very muddy a few weeks ago. Fortunately it's drying out nicely now. Can't quite see where he is. Yeah, I don't think it was a blackbird. Sounds nice. Just thought I'd show you this animal track coming under the wire there, down through here, down under there and off into the forest. And here we are in Wood Street. I believe it was where they used to herd all the geese to market. It was like a goose lane in years gone by. It is a super little pathway. This is one of my very favourite group views along here. You just come down here and the whole of, well, most of the Mulwins open up before you. There you are. On the left hand side is the beacon. You can't quite see it, but in the centre there's a dip, and there's one called the Sugarloaf, and the one to the far right, to the north, is North Hill, strangely enough. And then one of my favourite walks is below the beacon there. You can probably see a very faint pathway from right to left below the beacon. Just walk along that edge and it's just wonderful. Never see a soul, and there's just the odd small tree. Glorious place. I spied this group of bluebells down here. Beautiful. I'm just waiting here a little while. There's people coming, so I'll give them a wide berth. Beautiful, beautiful park this is. A little story I want to share with you down here in a moment or two. Well, about 7 or 8 years ago, I think it was, we hadn't been here all that long, and I was just finding my way round. And I came along here one morning fairly early. The sun was rising behind me as it is now, and peeping out of these ferns here was a fox cub. He'd obviously just woken up. His eyes were blinking into the sun, and I don't think he could see me, or at least he wasn't bothered about me. And I stood here for a couple of minutes, and he just never moved. And I carried on. The only part about it which I'm really sorry about, it was a shot of a lifetime. No camera, no phone. Never done that again. I just had to stop for a minute. There's a crowd of people. Well, not a crowd, but in twos, and running and walking and enjoying the weather, but all keeping well away from everybody else, which is very fortunate. This is another one of my favourite views, right across to the hills. Beacon on the left. You can just see the Sugarloaf peeping out in the middle, little hill in the middle, and North Hill. Very lucky to live around here. And the Priory, or Abbey, I'll get told off when I get home, right in the middle. Go away from the hills now and back towards home. Come through this very nice gate onto this here, which I've been here before, obviously. It's a gallops. Never seen a horse up here, but they obviously look after it. Now we come up over the top of the ridge. The hill in the background is Breedon Hill. Down there amongst the trees is a place called Blackmore Park. So if anybody's got a camper or like camping, it's a lovely place to come in the summer. Looking back towards Hanley Swan now, and this is the ridge that we've just walked along. And over there is back to Keeper's Cottage. Just over there is British Camp. To the left of that barn and above, you can still see the fortifications that were made hundreds of years ago to keep the Welsh out. Just look back to the ridge we've come along the tree line there, down the field, and back where this chap's coming now. I better get out of his way. I think we'll go this way today. That looks a nice little path, doesn't it? little cottage I love. I love the little fence, it's absolutely brilliant. This of course is the road down into Hanley Swan Crossroads. That's a shame, but I don't think it's coming early summer. 2020. Be nice to be able to afford one, I expect. And here we are. Just some of the nice houses of the great and good in Hanley Swan. A bit different to our modest little place. Nice little things. Keep the kids amused. This lovely little place used to be the local butcher's up until about 2 years ago. Now called Bramley Cottage. You can probably see where the shutters were above the windows. Where those two windows are on the left used to be a big open window and a lovely, lovely butcher's in there. Great shame it closed. Heading towards the crossroads now, you can see where we are. That's the Swan Inn. It's a very nice pub to eat, usually packed, but I'm afraid it's going to be some time before it's packed again. And over here we've got Hanley Swan Pond, usually loaded up. Just across there is the village post office and stores. Super place, lovely people, and it's just been sold, I believe, but I don't think anybody's going to be moving soon. And in there, in the middle of here, we've got what one of our grandchildren called duck kennels. It's an island with a tree in the middle, and they built all these little houses for the ducks, duck houses. And it was paid for by the village, not by the government. The village stores, a smashing little place, very friendly people, and the post office as well. We couldn't do without it, Hanley Swan. Well, this is my road to go home, and there's the church, and we'll carry on along there for a bit more. This is our little church. Well, I say our little church. Cynthia has a lot more to do with it than I do. I'm afraid I'm a bit of a lost cause in that respect. It's a nice church, a lovely community, and Cynthia's very involved. St Gabriel's. This is pretty. Super, just on the grass verges. And I see they've started. They're expecting great big nests. It's amazing, they're about 2 weeks and they're made. They must work very, very hard. This is now called the Highball Centre. That part of it was built in 1890, I think it was. And it was for a sort of a boys' school for boys that have been a bit ill-treated, I believe. But the extension there was put on later years. And it's still used, and usually for kids that haven't got much from the Birmingham area. And they come down here and have a few days, go up on the hills. It must be a super place for them, back in full view of the Morven Hills. That's the long road, old Roman road, and there's a Worcestershire Beacon and North Hill. Well, here we are, back home. Still got a couple of 100 yards to go, but I think it's been quite a good walk. This is part of the park home setup where we live, but I'll show you where our place is. That's where we started, down that lane there. We come round in a big circle. Quite pleased with that. Here we are back home again. I'll have to tell you how many miles I've done. I will do in a minute. This is our front veranda. Got a good set of daffodils there and things. Not bad, is it? Not bad. Thank you for coming with me.